Well, so maybe you could tell us a little bit, like, how'd you start? I mean, you went to college and then you said, hey, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Or what was that beginning background and what triggered you to becoming a business owner?
So I feel like I was really lucky because I am the youngest of three girls born to an immigrant family from Holland. And my mother was 8 months pregnant when they landed in Louisiana, much to their shock, I think, in many ways. But
Yeah.
my father was brought here because he knew how to run Heidelberg printing presses. And all the stuff was in Dutch and German. And so that was our opportunity. And my parents thankfully took it. But as a kid, I think I really watched how my parents navigated a world that was unfamiliar to them and created value for people. And in doing that, created an income for our family. And so that whole idea of entrepreneurship was modeled for me all my life. And I think even so much that my parents had, if you can imagine, three kids, $500 to their name,
Yeah.
left Louisiana and came to move to Palo Alto, California, of all places. I don't know how the money lasted long enough, but my father really wanted to own his own business as a graphic artist, and my mother wanted to work at Stanford University in medical research. So here we are, three little kids in a motel, not a hotel, motel,
Big difference.
and in the heart of Palo Alto, California, and we made it work. My parents made it work, at least. But the thing that I learned in those early years was how to not just work somewhere, but actually how to pay attention to how a business works. And so I think in those early stages, the seed was planted. But unfortunately, in my mom's work, she was exposed to formaldehyde, not a good thing for your body, and ended up passing away of cancer when I was 17.
Wow.
And so the very year, I think I had graduated from high school early. That very year when I would have launched my opportunity to go to college didn't happen. For many reasons. One is I don't think my father even knew how to fill out a FAFSA form or a college application, and I just didn't have a lot of guidance to do that. And so, it was go to work. It was grow up fast. It was figure it out. And I was married. I had purchased a home in Sunnyvale, California, and I had two kids before I could order a beer. Good thing is I don't drink alcohol, but all of that happened really early in my life.
Wow, that's amazing. I think what the average age now getting married is like in the 30s, right? I mean,
I know.
That's great.
It definitely has flipped.
Wow, okay.
So let's see. From there, I really just kind of worked my way up in companies, watching how their business was done, and ended up, this is such a great sales story, ended up taking a job as an executive search recruiter. If you ever want to learn sales, that's a great place to start, because I remember the day they dropped like about a 2-inch block of list of names in front of me and gave me a little script and said, start dialing. And that's what I did for like 8 hours a day. And I remember on day 3 thinking, oh my goodness, am I even going to last a week in this job? But here's what happened in that, just kind of sticking with it, was I learned how to master the art of a conversation, whether it was talking to somebody on this list of names that didn't, or even trying to get through to that person.
Right.
It was all about, and I realized all of business is really comes down to a conversation. And so I would say that that was the beginning of me realizing that sales and marketing were my sweet spot. I guess it was about an 18-month point, having some success. I took over the agency completely and ended up being its owner.
Wow, that's impressive.
It was, it was, there was probably, it was small. There was like 5 of us, but I think we had found a way in that rise of Silicon Valley where we were, to do it a little bit differently. And I think the difference was that we weren't rushing. We weren't rushing to make deals. We weren't rushing into relationships. We were establishing ourselves as we're going to be here, and we're going to be here for the long haul. And so just that kind of stickiness of us being consistent caused us to build a lot of trust with people. But here's something that happened. I think you have that moment in your work or your career sometimes where you're just like, I can't keep doing this. And I had I had placed a single dad with 3 little kids under the age of 10 into a Silicon Valley company, moved him from where he lived Midwest to, found housing, got the kids settled and everything. And in that field, after you have a 90-day guarantee. So on day 89, they basically brought him in, had him create a software technology, or at least, get them ready to do that. And on day 89, to avoid paying what is a pretty decent, substantial fee for the search, they turned him loose. And I remember thinking to myself, there's just, I thought it was a loyalty thing at first, that where's the loyalty? And then I realized, no, it was really an integrity thing. Yeah. And sometimes the two are really interlocked. And so I had to pivot. That was pivot number 1. And it was a big one. And that is leave the executive search and go into human resources.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah, so I'm still in the corporate world, but watching businesses. And then I had the perfect storm. I get hired to be the HR director for a direct sales company. So that's taking product to people with people. So it's person-to-person sales. We know it is network marketing but direct sales is kind of the heart of it, because over time that has really morphed. In the beginning, your neighbor would come knocking at your door to do a demo.
Yeah.
And then it kind of morphed into party plans and ladies having, makeup parties and things like Tupperware, things like that. But it really has grown into, I think, a highly respected model for bringing a product to the marketplace. And that's where I really fell in love with the whole idea of marketing and sales, and how can you build a team and create a successful team, limitless, really,